Hello everyone. So I'm moving out at the end of the month, and I realised the other day when clearing out my attic and coming across an old box of Doctor Who Adventure magazines that, for all of the time I've lived here, I've never actually made a proper video just going through my collection. If you know me, you'll know that I'm a big fan of the BBC Sci-Fi series Doctor Who. Have been all my life, and naturally have gathered a good bit of tat over that time. So I wanted to make this video not only to show off some of the Doctor Who stuff that I've managed to collect over the years, but also as a way for myself to document this room that I've spent almost half of my life in. But yeah, without any further ado, let's get into the actual collection tour itself. Starting off, we have the main shelf area here. Now I think everyone has their own version of the nerd shelf, whether they be a fan of Marvel, Doctor Who, whatever. We all have that one shelf with books, DVDs or trinkets that we take pride in, and for me that would have to go to my figure shelves. So going through my figures, I have these set up in a loose broadcast order, mainly because with the 60s I didn't want just back-to-back Daleks, so yeah, that's why the Mondasian Cyberman is there in the middle, and mainly sort of just to represent their eras as a whole. I have the Doctor Who magazine TARDIS inserts there at the back, which I think also just make a good backdrop for displaying these figures, and the Morbius Doctors going along the top there. There were a couple of them missing, I don't know where they've got to, but yeah. Going along, we go into Pertwee, and there were some really great figures for the Pertwee era. We have Omega there at the back, the Drashig, I really love that, and a random Krillitane as well, just because there was not enough space on the RTD shelf. Down we go into Tom, again, a lot of fantastic figures here. We have the Genesis stuff, going through that Sutek is a particular favourite of mine, the Zygon, K9 of course. And going along a couple of Season 17 things, so we have the Tic Tac Dalek, because I'm yet to buy a Bomber Dalek, and this was sort of my makeshift compromise to that. I will get one eventually, but yeah. And of course the Davison stuff at the end. Down again we go into Collins era. This is a bit of a sadder shelf. I don't have as many figures from this era. They also just didn't make as many, like a lot of them are just Daleks. We have the second Doctor TARDIS in the middle there for the two Doctors. And at the back, of course, we have The Last Adventure, Big Finish, signed by the man himself. We come along into the McCoy era, them beautiful Imperial Daleks there. We've got the original Davros, which looks great. A couple of Silver Nemesis Cybermen. A random Ood and Sensorite at the back there for McGann. I feel like that's with a lot of the McGann section on people's shelves. You just sort of fill it out with random miscellaneous Big Finish stuff. I've got the spare 11 box from the Christmas Carol set in the back. And then we've got a little Dark Eyes sort of inspired set with a Sarah Jane figure who I'm sort of just trying to pass off as Liv. I've removed the fringe, but yeah. It's not really convincing anyone. Now we move on to one of my favourite shelves, which is the Time War shelf. This is mainly just Time Wars. There's a couple of Daleks in there. Of course, the War Doctor with the Moment. A little Regeneration Eccleston figure. Rassilon. A Sontaran in the back. And also, the majority of my Big Finish Daleks have just sort of gone here. We have the exclusive Big Finish 2-pack they done with the War Doctor, as well as the War Doctor Funko Pop, which I'm not really a big fan of Funko Pops, but I found this in a charity shop and thought it was neat, so he stands there looking over all of the chaos. And then we come into Series 1, where my particular love for collecting this range sort of began. Also, yes, there's a random Krillitane again, because there was not enough room for what was to come. But yeah, some really nice figures here, the Faceable, the Sycorax, the weird Blue Peter's 9th Doctor, because yeah, that's what we wanted. We wanted another Disco Dancing Rose and Blue Peter 9th Doctor. Yeah, bizarre choices there. Now we get to the 10th Doctor, where a lot of these figures will start to become a bit more familiar with a lot of you all. We have the Dr. Rose and Sarah at the front there, K9, the Dr. Martha and Jack, going through into Series 4 of course with the Dr. Donna, and a couple of cute little adipose boys there as well, and Ballsack Doctor. Continuing along, we have a couple of the specials, going into early Matt Smith, you go through into Series 6, and 7 as well. And there's the Gallifrey Falls No More painting in the back, which keeps falling down. I've had to like try and stick this up several times while I was trying to film this. So yeah, that's a little bit ropey, but yeah, again, it's another shelf I'm really happy with. Then all the way at the bottom, we start getting into the dregs of character options, where we have the Capaldi section, which, outside of a couple of Doctor variants and Missy, you can see that I've sort of just tried to fill it in with as sort of any old loose figures I had. So there's a couple of classic Daleks in there. You've got Kill the Moon, 12. I sort of started the Clara, as you can see, but I never finished it, so that's just there. But yeah, Mondasian Cyberman, of course. Going into the 13th Doctor's era, which again is a similar thing with just filling it out with the odd spare figure, the Jadoon, the Dalek, Paul McGann, and Ace. So yeah, and the last of the shelves is just sort of miscellaneous. I couldn't really fit it anywhere else, or it's a spare, so it's not that exciting. You can see the TARDIS from the Doctor's wife, there's the Cyber Controller. I do hope to incorporate that into the updated collection display when I move, but right now I didn't really have the space or time to rearrange my entire shelf display for this video, so yeah, that currently just sits as it does. It's not that good. Jumping up to the top of my shelves, we have all of the Doctor Who collections going along the top there. I have this 5th Doctor figure that was my first ever classic Doctor, I think, that I got after watching Time Crash, so yeah, I picked him up and he takes pride and place there. We have my Adipose, and behind him we have this odd Doctor Who bootleg DVD set that when I saw it on eBay I just had to buy. It's essentially just Series 3 that someone's taped off the telly, so it has all of the broadcast announcements in between. Yeah, very odd. I don't know why the Cybermen are there, but yeah, that's the thing. We go along to the robot set. We have this terrible Clara Oswald's squad figure. I hate you all. Jodie Whittaker, the Australian Canine. We have Pudsey Bear from the 2007 Time Crash shoot. A little Dapol Mel sitting there. We go up, there's a Day of the Doctor poster, and Fugitive Doctor and Pink Dog. I don't know why he's there. Terrible thing. Coming down towards the end of the shelves, we have this framed Radio Times. I want to say it was Jodie's first, but I could be wrong there. I don't know, either way, I've always really liked this cover. I think it's really bold and colourful and bright, and yeah, I just really like it as a cover. We move down to the Reaper. I only got this figure recently, but I gotta say, I really like him. And he's holding Van Gogh's Sunflowers. Also, K9 is there. Sitting next to my shelves, we have the 11th Doctor's TARDIS playset. Not a favourite set of mine by any means, but it does make for a good display piece. Next to that, we have a Paradigm shampoo bottle, and hiding behind that, we have the Jodie Whittaker 10-inch doll. Just below that we have the balls from The Giggle. These are neat little things. And we come along to the other side to Jodie's TARDIS, surrounded by some pine cones. And all the way behind that, we have the pride and joy of the collection, Doctor Who Pasta Shapes in Tomato Sauce. Moving up from 11 and his adventures, we come to the Sonic shelf. Now, this section I've sort of split into 3 little hexagonal shelves. You'll notice there's a bit of a Children in Need theme going on, with Pudsey Bear up there, we have the Destination Scarrow setup, and the Time Crash setup as well. As you'll see above that, I have a couple of bits of Doctor Who artwork. I really love this piece by Rafsky. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's just gorgeous, the colours, the composition, very nice piece. Moving on to 2 other pieces I really like, of the Schalke Doctor and the 8th Doctor in their respective TARDISes. I can't remember the exact handle, but I know her name's Lizzie. And we come down to the portrait of Clara from The Bells of St. John. Here we just have a couple of miscellaneous bits and bobs. This is supposed to be the Clockwork Squirrel, or it's at least going to be the Clockwork Squirrel from Before the Flood. I just need to spray paint it bronze, and then that'll be ready to go. And then just a random piece of fabric from Tennant's suit. And Doctor Who wood, which I didn't really know where to put, so it's just there representing various bits of the show. Taking a closer look at those who care about Sonics, we have 10 to 14s on display here, the 10th Doctor Universal Remote, as well as the Master's laser screwdriver. We have the 3D glasses from Doomsday, and the Sonic sunglasses. Turning round, we are exposed to my second love, which is, of course, Lego. But Doctor Who is not absent from this, as you can see a couple of the Doctors in the Doctor Who Ideas set that was brought out in 2015. We have this fish tank ornament that I saw in Lidl when getting the shopping one day, and, you know, of course, being a police box, I had to have it. So yeah, that just sort of sits here with this little sticker that I've got at a convention. Someone just gave it to me because I was dressed up as 14. So that was nice. And then we have this big cyber leader boy at the top, overlooming. There's sort of just Cybermen either side. I think this is also a shampoo bottle, like the Paradigm, but he is, has a little bit of damage. Also, if you notice, there's a little bit of a Van Gogh motif throughout my room. So obviously we have the Starry Night Lego. When you move up, there's another one of his paintings here. We have the sunflowers cross stitch being held by the Reaper. And then when you turn around here, we also have the exploding TARDIS. So yeah, it's fair to say I'm a pretty big fan of his work. And moving down, we have a couple of other posters from Series 8. Stuart Manning, I think, did these, and yeah, I really love his style. I love the old timely movie poster aesthetic. Really, really nice. And I hope to get some of these framed when I move. So, moving down the Lego shelf, this one is less Doctor Who inspired. If anything, there's more Star Trek stuff in there with a couple of Deep Space Nine figures throughout. There's a couple of Target novelisation, you'll notice Rose and the Day of the Doctor, but outside of that, not much Doctor Who going on here, unless you want to count this ball, which is from the 10th Doctor's TARDIS. Moving down, we come to the Steelbook collection. I love a good Steelbook, and I think these look absolutely beautiful together. And then along the top, we have a couple of Daleks. A little bit of a Dalek universe inspired setup with the 10th Doctor there in the middle. And in the middle of the Steelbook collection, we have more props from the Giggle. Well, at least this one is. I think this one's just inspired, but it's pretty cool. And also we have the tooth that contains the Master. So, yeah. Fuck that guy. Now, I also have had a couple of these signed. So, Series 4, you'll see I have signed by Catherine Tate. Very nice person. I think I also got... What one was it? It might have been the specials. It was one of the Jodie ones. Yes, it was. There we go. And I got that signed by Jodie Whittaker. So, again, really lovely pieces that I'm happy to have in my collection. Moving down again, we have the man himself, Russell T Davies, The Writer's Tale. This is just a couple of books that I have on display in the centre. We have the illustrated Rose novelisation, again, by Russell T Davies, and one of the Shooty books, Ruby Red by Georgia Cook, which I recommend. It's a very good read. And at the bottom there, we just have a couple of Doctor Who magazines, the 25th Anniversary Annual. Moving to the other side of the shelves, we have this complete Surgeon Adventures collection, which has been signed by most of the cast, at least the kids. R.I.P. Elizabeth Sladen. Yep, I got that signed back in 2017 at an event called The Attic, which is a really good event. I hope they do another one.
Behind that we've just got some 8th Doctor Big Finish. Moving down we continue the Big Finish theme, a couple of DVDs there. The VHS for City of Death, which I really love the old artworks for the VHS tapes. I've got a couple of them in another room, but yeah, really like this. Got this signed by Julian Glover, who plays Scaroth, a couple of years ago now, so that was really cool. And just below that we have some War Master stuff and a couple of Unbound as well. You can't really see it. Spooky Clown and Cyberman Etch-a-Sketch, which I found in a shop last year and thought, I've never seen that before, I'm going to buy it, because, you know, being a Doctor Who fan, you are of course conditioned into buying anything that has the branding. Now moving on, we get to the photo section. Now this is actually a pretty recent addition to my room. What I've done is essentially I've taken the doors off of these cupboards, and yeah, I've hauled out a little section. I've got a little stand there with TV. And behind it, I have a couple of photos from various conventions meeting guests. So yeah, as you go along, we have various different Doctors. This photo of me as a baby with my dad. This is where everything went wrong and why I'm in this mess now. So yeah. And then also behind we have Sasha, Mrs. Flood, Yaz, and I think that's a 7 and Ace one. Again, along down there we have Alex Kingston, Katie Manning. Really love this one with Catherine Tate holding the adipose, and the gang from Sarah Jane Adventures. But yeah, that's about it for the main bulk of the collection. I do have a few books and videos in other rooms, but I'll probably save them for when I incorporate them into my next setup. Also, I do plan on doing a video going over my cosplays a bit more in detail. I know I briefly showed them off in a passing shot, but yeah, I don't want this video to be too long, so expect that in the coming months. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll be back soon with another video. Goodbye.